Hi, I'm Kate Walton-Elliott.
I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield.
And this is the Genesis GV60.
So far this year, we've driven the Hyundai IONIQ5. We've also driven the EV6. And if you haven't watched either of those videos, there's somewhere up here or in the description below. This week, as Kate noted, we've been driving the GV60. It's built on the same E-GMP platform, but it's got a whole lot more opulence. It's kind of a upmarket electric SUV. And while it is technically a compliance car right now,
yeah, it's not available in all states by any means. In fact, it's available in far fewer states than it's available in.
And we're filming in a state where it's not actually available to buy. Nevertheless, today we're going to look around the car, show you some of its features, and then later this week we'll take it out on the road and give you our first drive impressions. A tour of the side of the GV60 wouldn't be complete without talking about the two available wheel packages. If you opt for the standard trim, which is about 58 and change, you'll get 20-inch wheels. If you go for the performance variant, which is what this is, you'll get 21-inch wheels. You will have to pay just shy of 68 grand to get one though. And I will note that these wheels, while big, also have a lot of rubber on them, and that's pretty important. While this car is based on the E-GMP platform, it is more powerful than most EV6's and IONIQ5's that are on the road today. In fact, its performance is about the same as the just launched Kia EV6 GT. There is a total of 483 horsepower available through 2 electric motors, and there's a boost mode that gets you moving very, very quickly indeed. The SUV feel of this vehicle is accented somewhat by the contrast wheel arches which comes into the trim here on the bottom of the door. This not only hides the 77 kilowatt-hour battery pack, but also makes the car look much more rugged. Moving back to the door handles, they're flush as they are on the rest of the E-GMP platform, but this car has a particular trick up its sleeve. While it's possible to gain entry to the vehicle using a good old-fashioned key, there is a camera here. And while you might think it would be used for something like a Tesla-like autopilot system, it's not. It's facial recognition. It doesn't always work, but let's see if we can do it now. I don't have the key, it's way over there, so I just have to press this button, look at the camera, and then the car will unlock for me. I'm going to move towards the back of the vehicle in a second, but before I do, I should note that these mirrors, which obviously automatically fold when you park and lock the car, also house a rear view camera, which, like the rest of the E-GMP platform, displays a live feed from said camera when you activate your indicators. So if you turn your indicators on for turning left, it will give you a live feed from the left, and vice versa for the right. It's a great way of ensuring that you don't hit anybody who happens to be in your blind spot, and I can only applaud Hyundai-Kia for putting it in all of its E-GMP platform vehicles. Keeping with the rugged off-road feel of this vehicle, or at least its desire to be seen as one, because I don't personally view this as a crossover, there are integrated luggage racks, so you can put roof rails on the top of this vehicle with relative ease. I should note, however, that the roof of this car is a single piece of panoramic glass, so you may not want to store a lot of extra weight up there. At the rear of the vehicle on this side, we've got the wonderful sweeping taillights and this lovely roof line down into the hatch. What we don't have on this car, however, is a charge port door hidden in a light cluster as you would find on the EV6. Instead, there's a more traditional charge port door on the other side of the vehicle in the same place that you would normally expect a gasoline filler cap to be. It pops up automatically and gives you access to the charging apparatus. Just like the rest of the E-GMP platform family, this car comes with DC quick charging as standard, and because it's an 800 volt architecture vehicle, it can charge really quickly at a compatible 350 kilowatt DC quick charge station. I would love to tell you that we've taken it out and tested it, but all of the 350 kilowatt DC quick chargers in the greater Portland area at the time of filming, they're all broken.
The front end of the GV60 is a little bit aggressive. It has this anthropomorphized face with a camera hiding in what is almost a little nose, but over at the edges of the grille you have these sharp tooth-like edges which just kind of make it feel like it's going to chase after you, bite you. I don't know, it feels quite aggressive to me. And above it are these two slit-like headlamps. These are LEDs and they do switch from being daytime running lights in white to being orange when the turn signals are on. That front grille, that big, black, really obvious grille, makes it feel almost like there might be an ICE derivative of this vehicle. But there isn't. This is an E-GMP based car after all, and most of that grille is blanked off, save for a small amount for air entry and a little radar down here. Unlike the IONIQ5, which has a very angular look, the Genesis GV60 has curved, sweeping lines. This clamshell hood here rolls round at the edges, and you see those kinds of lines throughout the design of the vehicle. Up above on the windshield, you do have a little camera array, which helps with the forward collision avoidance and the lane keep assist, which we'll talk about in the later video when we do our drive review. Underneath the hood, which is lifted by a very nice feeling latch, weirdly so, there are two gas lifts and a frunk. But as with its siblings, the frunk is convenient for storing small pieces of recording equipment and little else. Inside the frunk you do find a little cargo net for all that cargo that you can store in here, and a small light which allows you to illuminate the massive space.
At the rear, there's definitely a family resemblance for anybody who has spent time with the IONIQ5 or the EV6. That does unfortunately extend to the fact that there's no rear wash wipe functionality. I don't know what it is about car companies not wanting to put rear wash wipes on, but if you live outside of the city, it's pretty much essential if you want to be able to see behind your vehicle and don't want to spend every other day at the car wash. My personal rant over, let's talk space. You've got 24 cubic feet in the rear. That is approximately 680 litres. You get a luggage net as standard with this rather fetching warning that you shouldn't overstretch it and you should make sure that your eyes and other sensitive parts of your body are kept clear in case you twang it, and of course you have an underfloor storage area. This is the portable charge cable. You have a tyre mobility kit, and here, the fancy plug. If you're not familiar with this option, it's offered on the IONIQ5, it's also offered on the EV6 and thus the GV60 as well. You plug in to the charge port on your vehicle, and then there is a mains outlet here. It allows you to pull just about a kilowatt or so from the vehicle in North America, a little bit more in Europe, and you can run basic household appliances from the charge port in an emergency, which, as I've said before, is a feature I wish every car had. There's also a mains power socket located just underneath the rear seat cushions to give you access to power while the vehicle is driving along. This is very useful if you have people in the back who want to play on computer games or use laptop computers on a long trip, or indeed if you're stopped and charging and you need to catch up on some work from the office.
Inside the inside the Genesis GV60, there is a crystal sphere. Unfortunately, because the car is on right now, you can't see it, but it is a small glass-like dome that sits where the gear knob is. When you turn the car on, it flips over and presents the drive surfaces to you so that you can put the car in gear. That kind of defines the way the whole interior of the vehicle is. It's like someone described a Rolls-Royce. It's not quite there, but it is very, very pleasant. You sit on Napa leather, at least in this trim level, with a 14-way adjustable heated and cooled seat. electric windows everywhere, electric controls for pretty much everything, and ahead of you, a drive display that is very familiar to anyone who's driven any of the E-GMP platform vehicles. But it is done with a little more grace and finesse than you find in the IONIQ5 or the Kia EV6. It's done in a way that makes you feel like this is intended to be more opulent, more comfortable, and quieter. And one of the other things that you notice is just how quiet this vehicle is. It has acoustic laminated glass at the front and on the side windows, and as usual, and as you would expect, there is dual zone climate control and a floating center console with a vast void in the center of it, which actually goes all the way from the front to the back with a small central divider. Down at the floor here you have 2 USB sockets and a 12-volt outlet. Those are important because, as with the other cars on the E-GMP platform, both CarPlay and Android Auto are only supported in wired mode. Hopefully, like the rest of the E-GMP platform, that will at some point become wireless through an over-the-air update. In the centre here, one of my pet bugbears from the EV6 has been addressed. There are buttons to work the climate control and a little toggle that the driver or passenger can use to adjust the temperature. And then in front of the passenger is this neat drawer containing, well, a large tome which addresses all the things you might want to know about the GV60. The rest of the interior has these kind of smooth surfaces and tactile buttons. It's really a very pleasant place to be, which is perhaps why you might want to use the reclining seat, which is the same as you find on the rest of the E-GMP platform. Press a button and you can lie back and relax and maybe take in some sounds of nature. In the back here, in this trim variant, you get heated rear seats. You get a nice central bolster with a couple of cup holders and some weird little cup holders in the door which hold smaller cups. The center console has 2 small USB-C charging points, and then up at the top here you get a hook. You also have a shade allowing you to shade small children or perhaps pets in the back, keeping the back of the vehicle nice and cool. The seats here in the back do feel a little low, however. With my feet flat on the floor, there is a good inch between my legs and the seat, and I have to sit kind of legs sideways and scooched slightly to get support there. But they are very soft and comfortable, and I feel like with the reclining, I could get them into a position where I would feel comfortable on a long journey. While we're talking about buttons, we do have a strange little set of buttons here that allow the rear seat passengers to adjust the passenger seat. It's unclear what purpose these would serve. I mean, it is a 4-door vehicle. You can get in and out from the back, so you don't need to adjust them unless perhaps you want to get a little friendly with the person up front. It may be a parent's worst nightmare, but I'm presuming that you can lock them out from somewhere else in the car's infotainment system. The key, however, does merit a mention while we're thinking about things with buttons. It has a kind of quilted appearance, and on the side it has 8 different buttons. Some of them allow you to move the car front and back from outside the vehicle, which is another of the E-GMP's party tricks, and, well, it feels really good in your hand.
That's it for today. If you like the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with your friends. And don't forget to leave your thoughts below or in our free to join Discord chat room. There are links in the video description. And if you really want to, if you really liked the video, you can leave us a super thanks. It's easy to do, and everything you do send goes towards helping us make more great content. You know, like paying people's salaries and buying camera equipment. If you haven't already, make sure you've subscribed to this channel and to our other channel, Transport Evolved Take 2, and give the bell a gentle ding to be told when our next video goes live. Thanks on behalf of the entire TE crew go out to everyone who makes this channel possible. That includes everyone who supports us on Patreon and YouTube as well as those of you who just share and interact with the video. It makes a big difference.
It does, and if you're a supporter at the charged up level, you'll see your name right here on our right. If you just joined, we're sorry if your name isn't showing. We currently render the list every week or so, but sometimes our videos are produced a few weeks in advance. Thanks to our self-driving tier supporters, Chris Maxwell, Pedro Mura Pinheiro, Patrick Boyarski, Bennett Elder, Brian Newton, David Kitchen, Michael Goad, Ricky Leong, Andrew Martin, Guido Drahota, Brophy Wolf, Tesla in the Gong, Gordon C, Stephen O'Donoghue, Kyle Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Regine Fellows, Dan Blair, Jim Burness, Chris Ascenter, Chris and Michael Johnson, Peter Dillinger and Denny Hyde. And of course, out of this world thanks to our Starman supporters, Anonymous Freak, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, Rory Litwin, Joe Bresney, Reed R, JP Fagerback, Russ, Will Graylan, Matthew Drobnak, Kevin Burrowbridge, John Lyons, Andrew Glenn, Paul Conway, Laura Reynolds and, of course, Ian.
If you are wanting to be part of that amazing list, and who wouldn't, you can join Patreon at the link below. You can sign up to support us on YouTube, or you can show us your support by going to Bitcoin, Ko-fi, or buying some cool swag from our swag store. And if you are unable to support us financially, please know that you sharing and watching our videos really makes a difference, as one of our videos this week, which went kind of viral, has shown. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep evolving.